Hello, I am R.E. Burden. Welcome to my show, R.E. Burden Presents Deep Dives into the Divine Design. Today's topic, 16 Days to Triumph. From the death of Elazar to the resurrection of Yashua.
Hey everyone, ready for a really unique journey today? We're going to be doing a deep dive into this document, 16 Days to Triumph.
Okay.
And
That's intriguing already.
it is super interesting. It's basically a timeline leading up to Yashua's resurrection.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
What's the twist?
It uses the Roman Republic calendar.
Oh, interesting. So you might be wondering why that even matters.
Yeah.
Well, it gives us a really fascinating perspective on how this pivotal period in history sort of aligned with what was going on in the Roman world.
Right. So we're seeing it from their perspective, their timeline.
Exactly.
Which is really cool.
Their system of marking time.
Exactly. Okay, so the document starts off with a bang. March 1st, 39 A.D. The timeline tells us that Elazar passes away.
Okay.
And get this.
What's that?
It just so happens to be Yashua's 39th birthday.
Ooh, that is interesting.
According to this document.
It really makes you think about the different layers of history that are at play here, right? This wasn't just a significant period for Yeshua's followers, obviously, but it was happening against this backdrop of the Roman Empire with their own calendar system, their own worldview.
Right, like what was March 1st to them? Was it just another day?
Exactly.
Going about their business?
Yeah, paying their taxes.
Right.
Whatever they did back then.
Exactly.
Going to the Colosseum.
So what happens next?
So according to the timeline, Yashua continues his ministry in Beyth-anyah for another day, and then March 4th, things get really interesting.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
March 4th, 39 AD, Yashua raises Elazar from the dead.
What? Talk about a power move.
Right?
Wouldn't that cause a stir, though, especially given, the political climate at the time?
It would cause a stir, and that's precisely what happens. The timeline tells us that immediately following this event, Yashua seeks refuge in the city of Ephrayiym for a couple of days.
Oh, so he goes into hiding.
It seems that way, a strategic retreat.
Yeah, after raising someone from the dead.
Yeah, you'd think that would be the time to,
You'd think
let's get out of here.
it's like the opposite.
Yeah, you're right to question that. It's one of those head-scratching moments where you kind of have to take what we know about Yashua's character and sort of the political realities of the time and just try to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Perhaps this retreat was a way to let the initial shock of the resurrection die down, or maybe it was a calculated move to build anticipation for his return.
It's like he's playing 4D chess or something.
There you go.
Like every move is very much calculated.
It makes you wonder what was going through his mind.
Right. And then he makes this triumphal entry on March 7th.
Yeah, that's a bold statement after laying low, wouldn't you say?
Right.
Almost like a victory lap in a way.
Right, exactly.
And to add another layer to this, the next day, March 8th, the timeline mentions a banquet held in Yashua's honor.
Oh, the banquet.
But
This could be a gold mine for historical understanding.
Right.
Was this a common occurrence?
It makes you wonder.
Yeah. Who else was present? These little details tell us so much about the time.
You've hit on a crucial point there. Often it's the details that seem insignificant at first glance that unlock a deeper understanding.
Right.
It's like finding a hidden inscription on the back of an ancient artifact.
Oh, I like that.
It can change your whole interpretation of what you're looking at.
Okay, so we've got a resurrected Elazar, we've got this strategic retreat, we've got a triumphant return, and now a mysterious banquet. This timeline is like a historical thriller novel.
It's got all the elements, right?
It really does. So what happens next?
Well, get ready for another twist. The very next day, March 9th, is designated Palm Sunday.
Palm Sunday.
Dun.
Okay, so now that's an event I've at least heard of.
Right.
It's when Yashua enters Jerusalem.
That's right. According to the timeline, March 9th is the day Yashua enters Jerusalem, where he was met with celebration but also scrutiny.
Of course. Yeah, not everyone was thrilled.
Exactly.
It's wild to think that these events, now commemorated and studied for centuries, were unfolding day by day. In real time, people just living their lives.
I know. It's incredible to think about.
Totally. And they had no idea.
Right. They're just going about their daily business,
Right.
unaware of the historical significance.
And then boom, March 10th, the Last Supper.
The Last Supper. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's a big one. And what's so fascinating about this timeline is we're going day by day, so you really get a sense of the weight of it all.
It allows us to kind of step into the flow of events.
Yes. Exactly. And what's interesting is that the document says that the Last Supper is also when the examination of the lamb took place.
Right, linking it to the Passover tradition.
Which makes you think, was that planned? Was that intentional?
It really adds a whole other dimension to the event, doesn't it?
Right. It wasn't just a final meal.
Right.
It was very much tied to tradition and ritual.
You've got it. And it adds that symbolic dimension as well, right? Connecting Yashua's story to the Passover narrative of liberation and redemption.
Right.
Really powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's really like watching a ticking clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally. And the tension is building.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this symbolic Last Supper tied to Passover traditions. And then what?
Well, then things take a turn. March 11th, 39 AD, Yashua's trial before Herod.
Okay, so now the stakes are really getting higher.
Yeah.
This is where like all that political intrigue you were mentioning comes into play.
Exactly. And then the very next day, March 12th, another trial, this time before Pilate.
Oh, wow. So he's going back and forth.
Back and forth between these powerful figures.
Like he's caught in this whirlwind of accusations.
It's a really intense situation, and unfortunately, we know it doesn't end well. March 13th, 39 AD, Yashua's death sentence is issued at high noon, according to this timeline.
It's hard to even imagine the weight of that moment.
Such a pivotal moment in history.
And then March 14th, what we now call Good Friday. The timeline marks this as the day of Yashua's crucifixion.
A day of profound sorrow and loss for his followers. And as if to emphasize the gravity of this event, the timeline then takes us to March 15th, 39 AD, a day of silence and solemnity as Yashua's body lies in the tomb.
So it's like the world is holding its breath, waiting to see what's going to happen.
Exactly. The anticipation must have been palpable.
Right.
And this brings us to the culmination of the 16-day journey, March 16th, 39 AD, the day the document designates as Yashua's resurrection.
A day of triumph. Just as the document's title suggests, wow, what a journey this timeline has taken us on. From Elazar's death to Yashua's resurrection, all within this framework of the Roman Republic calendar. It really adds a new layer of understanding to these events that we've heard about our whole lives.
I agree. It's incredible how much history can unfold in just 16 days, and how each day can be filled with such profound meaning. What strikes you most about this timeline?
It's the little details that get me, like the banquet for Yashua, or the fact that his death sentence was issued at high noon. Those specific details make the story feel so much more vivid and real.
It's like those small brushstrokes that create a much larger, more intricate picture.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we're getting a glimpse into the lives of real people, not just these figures in a history book.
And it challenges us to think about the human side of history, right?
Right. And speaking of which, this Roman Republic calendar really got me thinking, did everyone in Judea use that calendar back then?
That's a great question. Because it makes you wonder about how all those different cultural perspectives might have collided or intersected.
Right. It's like we tend to view the past through our own cultural lens.
Absolutely.
But it's important to remember that different societies operated on different systems of timekeeping. Religious practices, social structures.
They had their own ways of doing things, their own ways of understanding the world.
Right. People in the past weren't just characters in our history books. They were living, breathing individuals trying to navigate a complex world, often with very different beliefs and practices than our own.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it?
It really is. This timeline is like a powerful reminder of that.
It really is fascinating how something like a calendar can just open up all these questions.
I know.
About how people saw the world back then.
Yeah. And we're only scratching the surface here.
Right, with these 16 days.
With these 16 days.
But it's enough to get us thinking.
It really is. And, it just underscores the importance of looking beyond just the narratives that we're familiar with.
Right. We tend to focus on the big events.
The big moments.
The things that made it into the history books. But sometimes it's those smaller details, the seemingly insignificant things that can really tell us more about the past.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like that banquet.
Exactly.
We keep coming back to it, but that one little detail could reveal so much.
It could. It really could.
About Yashua's, social world,
His social standing.
Yeah.
The cultural dynamics at play.
Yeah.
And that's what makes history so fascinating, right? There's always something new to discover, something to make us question our assumptions. Always more to learn.
Well, this has been a really cool deep dive.
It has.
It really highlights that history is not just dates and names.
Right.
But like you said, it's all these different perspectives and even different ways of, understanding time.
And who knows? What will future historians say about us?
Oh, I know.
About our time? What will they focus on? What will be important to them?
What will our 16 days of triumph be?
Exactly.
That's a good question.
Yeah, what events would you include? What details would you highlight?
Right. It might not even be like 16 specific days.
It might be moments,
It's the moments
big or small,
that got us to where we are.
that shaped us.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
But we hope this has really made you curious and want to continue exploring these really fascinating historical events.
Yeah, keep asking those questions.
Yes,
Keep digging deeper because there's always more to uncover.
absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.